help celebrate my channel reaching 10,000 subscribers, I'm putting together 10 special videos that I'm calling Project 10K, celebrating the history of my channel and all of those who watch it. Thank you for 10,000 subscribers, and please enjoy the second video of Project 10K, a tier list of all my series. Hello everybody, and welcome back to yet another video, and to the second video of Project 10K. I am super excited about today's video, because today I'm going to be ranking all of the series on my channel. I've always loved doing different series on my channel ever since I started it back in 2017. Some series have been around since the very beginning, like Cars Adventures. Some came in a bit later, but are still prominent today, like Weird Products or Errors and Inconsistencies, and of course there are also some newer series on my channel that I feel the channel just wouldn't be the same without. Ty's Cars Book Club and Diecast History were both introduced this year, and I feel like they're such staples of the channel now. But of course, for every Weird Products, there's a Daryl Talks. For each Cars Adventures, there's a Mystery Racer Adventures. For each Errors and Inconsistencies, Diecast History, there's a Collector's Guide, a Tractor Shorts. And I'm very excited because today we're going to be ranking all of my series, not just the ones that are still going on now. We're going to look at all of the weird old obscure ones that no longer exist on the channel. So I put together this big old tier list just on TierMaker. It's called the T-Toy Reviews Ty YouTube Series Tier List. You can find it, I'll leave a link to it in the description if you would like to do it for yourself. And as you can see, we have an absolute ton of series to go through here. We have 90 in total. I just went through my channel's playlist page and pulled out basically every series I saw with very, very few exceptions. These series are all placed in order of release, so not only will we be talking about each series and what I think of it, we'll also be doing kind of a little channel history lesson, which I think is going to be super fun to go through. Just so you guys know, in order to represent each series, I just used the thumbnail of the first video in their playlist, with a few exceptions. Some of them, like Cars Randomness, use other episodes that I thought would make the series easier to identify. Cars Adventures just uses its logo, but yeah, each of the series, for the most part, are represented by the thumbnail of the first video in their playlists. And before we begin, the last thing I want to say is, you can see me. Hi, hey, how's it going? I've gotten several requests over the years to do a face cam in my tier list videos. Usually I don't really think it's necessary, but I thought it might be fun. This is me talking about my series, so maybe you might want to see me and my face. The only problem is I can't see my face while filming this. I'm just filming this off of my webcam, but I'm full screen recording my browser, so if I make the world's stupidest face, I won't be able to see it. You will. So I'm sorry in advance. Anyway, let's get started. If you really don't want to see me, just put a sticky note in the corner of the screen. It won't hurt my feelings. It's all good. Alright, without further ado, let's get started. We've got S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier, E tier, and F tier. A lot of tiers for this list, because we've got a lot of stuff to get through. Of course, Tier Lister makes lists without... Tier Maker makes lists without the E tier in it. I decided to add E in so that I had a midpoint for this, for ones that are just average. For those of you who haven't watched my tier list videos, if you're in S tier, A tier, or B tier, you're good, you know. S tier, of course, is the best, but this would be like good, great, excellent. C tier is okay, and then D, E, and F get progressively worse and worse, with F, of course, being the worst. That's kind of unnecessary to explain, but everyone does tier lists a little differently. I just want to let you guys know, if you see me drop something in C tier, that means I think it's average. That doesn't mean I don't like it. Anyway, we have 90 series to get through today, so let's get started with reviews. My first ever video was a review. Of course, you can see that here, my old review of Bud with the auto-generated thumbnail of me comparing him to Elvis RV. The thing with reviews, I don't really see reviews as a series. I was very hesitant to put it here on the tier list because, well, reviews is in my channel name. I do reviews. Like, reviews are, in my opinion, the main thing I do, and everything else is a series. But I felt it would be kind of wrong to not put reviews on the tier list. I don't think I'm the best person ever when it comes to making reviews. I'm sure there are people out there who do way better ones than me, but reviews are the most frequently released content on the channel. They're something that I enjoy making. They're simple, they're fun. I love looking at diecasts. I love telling stories about them, about weird little quirks with them, or their histories. I love when I get to open a review, start the video by talking about like a story I have or a story regarding the item. I love when I'm able to incorporate jokes and sketches and stuff. And nowadays, reviews are some of the most personal content you can get from me, as I just kind of joke around while I talk about the car, while also trying to provide a detailed analytical look at my opinion on the item. So I think I have to put reviews in S tier. I think it's hard not to. This next video is a series that lasted one episode. You guys are going to see quite a few series that only lasted one episode here. One of the first videos I ever made was called Cars 1, My Version, Episode 1, Joining Rust-eze. As I say at the start of that video, the Cars Police at the time had done a series where he did his own version of Cars 2, and I wanted to try that, but for a good Cars movie. So for some stupid reason, I was like, let me do my own version of the first Cars movie. And it's so bad. The first episode is this weird prologue about McQueen joining Rust-eze, and it's so pointlessly unnecessary. Like, there's a reason why that wasn't in the movie. We don't need to see how he joined Rust-eze. It was like 15 minutes of what should come before the Dinoco 400. It was just me making changes for the sake of making changes. Completely unnecessary. No other episodes are ever made, although a second one was filmed. I might still have the footage. I filmed that on like a knockoff GoPro I used to have. I don't believe any videos on my channel were uploaded with that as the camera, but yeah, this is bad. I'm gonna throw it in E tier. I would put it in F tier, but it was one of the first videos I've ever made, so I'm gonna cut it some slack. I didn't know what I was doing just yet. Okay, we're already hitting one of the big ones. We have Cars Adventures here. Now, Cars Adventures, of course, is split up into 3 different series. Lap 1, which ran from 2017 to the end of 2019. Lap 2, which ran from 2020 to the summer of 2022. And Lap 3, which ran from 2023 and is still continuing on to this day. I'm going to rank these all separately and then also rank Cars Adventures as a whole. Obviously, I love Cars Adventures. It's like the series on my channel. But there's a lot of stuff early on in the series that I'm not the biggest fan of. Really stupid storylines and just way too much content. I used to make a Cars Adventures episode every single day and barely take breaks between seasons, which is why the series now has well over 1,000 episodes. It's incredibly overwhelming, and a lot of early Cars Adventures is just straight up bad. I don't think Cars Adventures got good until 2019. You know, in 2019, you have some amazing seasons like the Fuel War, the one with the tuners on the run. It took a little while for me to master my craft. Early Cars Adventures has its highlights. There are some seasons in 2018 I quite like, the Snot Rod stuff and the tuner stuff especially. But there's just a lot of dumb stuff going on in early Cars Adventures. I mean, the villain of my Cars series was Cruz, who was fired from Dinoco and started an evil next-gen group. Like, it's iconic to my channel, but it's often pretty dumb, and I feel like a lot of modern Cars Adventures has been me trying to clean up stupid stuff from early on in the series. So, I think I'm going to put Lap 1 in B tier. I'll do that. But Lap 2 and Lap 3 I'm much more fond of. They have less episodes and are much more easily digestible, easier to watch. I rebooted with Lap 2 to give viewers a new point to start if you're a new viewer. Because Lap 1 has so many episodes in it, I wanted to give people a fresh start, a new jumping on point. I feel like for a big part of its run, Lap 2 struggles with identity, because a lot of Lap 2 is just cleaning up my messes from Lap 1. We wrap up a lot of hanging plot threads to try to get the series in a better place, like, say, the Next Gens being, like, in jail and all that. There are a lot of seasons like that that feel like they're just cleaning up things from earlier on in the series. But I think those seasons are still fine, and when Lap 2 does have its own stories, I think they're really good. The K2 arc, the Real World arc, I'm not the biggest fan of the Real World arc in hindsight, but I think that's a pretty well-liked storyline. The finale and the Aiden stuff is some of my best work in Cars Adventures, and the zombie season, I am consistently told by people that that's one of their favorite seasons of Cars Adventures. It's not canon, but I did for 1 year a Halloween season where Mater writes a story about the Cars universe and a zombie apocalypse, and people love that season. So, Lap 2 I like quite a bit better. Same with Lap 3. Lap 3 is, in my opinion, the best Cars Adventures has ever been, and it's what I wanted Cars Adventures to be in the modern day. Lap 3 of Cars Adventures is much more grounded, and in my opinion, feels much more like a Cars series, but it does still incorporate that kind of darker storytelling that creeps into Cars Adventures, and also kind of the wackier storytelling. So we have more Cars-like plot lines, like Mater runs for mayor of Radiator Springs, or they do the Route 66 dash, but we also have some more wacky ones, like Fillmore puts Radiator Springs on lockdown. You know, there's a whole storyline where Leroy Traffic tries to become a monster truck. There are a few storylines in Lap 3 that try to wrap up Lap 1 loose ends, but they're all super obscure things that weren't really necessary to touch on in Lap 2. So instead of me feeling like, I have to do this busy work and make full seasons that fix earlier seasons, here's just like, hey, what if I brought back Tim Treadless? That's a loose plot thread. What if I wrapped up the Demolition Derby cars? Lap 3, I've never enjoyed Cars Adventures as much as I enjoy it doing Lap 3. And the Yojimbo stuff I'm doing now, man, I love it so much. The current season of Cars Adventures is the most fun I've ever had. I think it's the best quality Cars Adventures has ever been. Very excited to wrap it up in the coming days. So, with all that said and done, I think we're easily going to drop Laps 2 and 3 of Cars Adventures in S tier, and the series as a whole I'm going to put an A tier. Maybe I'll change my mind later, but I think Lap 1 weighs it down, especially if you're a new viewer who wants to get into the series. You're probably going to be best off starting from Lap 2 or Lap 3. And that's really, I think, the worst part about Cars Adventures is early on I made way too much of it, and it's really hard to get into because of that. Okay, so the next few are pretty obscure. We've got several miscellaneous 2017 series, most of which only lasted a few episodes. Mistake Monday was a series I did where I just did bloopers, and I posted them every Monday for 2 weeks until I ran out of bloopers. E tier. Cars Bits is a series that I quite like. They were basically these short little, like 8 to 20 second long Cars skits with little jokes and gags in them, and honestly, I look back on this series quite fondly. Sorry, let me get my water bottle out. You gotta make sure you stay hydrated when you're ranking every series on your YouTube channel, guys. Very, very important. Okay, so Cars Bits. I fondly remember Cars Bits. Sure, it's 2017 Thai, so the camera work isn't good, the voice acting isn't good. I sound like a child because I was 13, and I guess I hadn't discovered puberty yet. Cars Bits is going to be hard to rank because I do really like it, and I really like the concept of these little mini Cars shorts and skits and stuff. I think a lot of them hold up in terms of their jokes. They're just not acted very well. We'll go D tier. I think we'll do D tier. Okay. You know what? I'm going to bump Lap 1 of Cars Adventures up into A tier because it does have some really, really good stuff in there, especially later on, and there are a lot of highlights in the earlier years, and I'm going to bump Cars Bits up to C tier. I wanted to put Cars Bits in C tier, but I saw that Cars Adventures was in B tier, and I was like, there's no way, these two should not be a tier apart. So Cars Bits will be in C tier, and Lap 1 will go in A tier. Okay, Cars Shopping. This was my old in-store shopping video, which is not very good. It was filmed on an iPod 4, so not very good camera quality. The rest of my videos were filmed on an iPad mini at the time, so obviously I couldn't really, I couldn't bring that with me to film in stores. I didn't have a phone yet. So it's not good camera quality, but this always holds a special place in my heart for nostalgia value. I get to see what my stores looked like in 2017, and we get some of the only footage I've ever taken of Toys R Us before it closed. I think it's perfectly passable. You know what? Yeah, we'll put it in C tier. It's watchable. It's a little rough, but for what it is, I think it's okay. Cars Life as a Spy. This was a role-playing series I did, a prequel series to Cars 2 about Rod Torque Redline joining Chrome. A lot of original characters in there. I don't remember it very well. I know it only lasted about 3 episodes. I think I'm just going to put it in D tier. I didn't rewatch it for this video. There were several series I revisited for this. This wasn't one of them. So I'm just gonna throw it in D tier and we'll call it a day. Okay, this is a playlist on my channel called Watching. I would basically do reaction videos to videos made by Cars channels I was friends with. I didn't know how to screen record yet because I didn't have my laptop yet, so I would film me filming my iPad. These are bad. These are really bad. These are some of my least favorite things I've ever done. It's not even a good reaction video, okay? But easily the stupidest thing about it is occasionally, while watching, I would just pull a car off my shelf and be like, hey, look, Slim Hood is watching the video too. What do you think, Slim Hood? And Slim Hood would go, I think this and this and this about the video. And it's so dumb. It's really stupid. I was a kid, but also F tier. Okay, tractor shorts, guys. Here we go. This is the big one. Tractor Shorts has been a running joke on my channel for years at this point, because I reference it in a Cars Randomness once, because it's this stupid, obscure series that ran for, like, one day on my channel after I got the not Welcome to Radiator Springs, the Radiator Springs Classic tractor, the new tractor they made for Cars 3. I did these 2 little shorts starring the tractors. And in a Cars Randomness several years later, I made a joke about Tractor Shorts, and it's been a running gag on my channel ever since, just because it's weird and obscure and easy to poke fun at. I'm sure I'm getting several comments under this video, okay? I'm sure I'll get several from people saying, oh, Tractor Shorts better be an S tier, Tractor Shorts better be an S tier. I've already seen jokes like that on my community tab when I announced this video. Tractor Shorts is, in my opinion, not as bad as some of my early series. I'm not kidding. I think there's a charm to it that a lot of my early videos don't have, and a lot of that comes from the fact that I'm not talking, so there isn't bad dialogue, okay? I used to talk in a really clunky way as a kid. I would be very repetitive, and I guess some of that does still persist in my speech now, but early videos, I feel like I never know what I'm saying, especially in early Cars Adventures and stuff. Tractor Shorts doesn't have dialogue, and I think that already makes it better than a lot of my other series. I'm going to put Tractor Shorts in D tier and actually bump Life as a Spy down to E. So Tractor Shorts, you go in D tier. You're bad, but it's okay. You're not as bad as the other bad stuff. I want to bring Tractor Shorts back someday, and when I do, hopefully, maybe we could bump that up to an S tier or even an SS tier, which I'll reserve specifically for Tractor Shorts. Okay, Water Demo Derby. I don't want to talk about this one, guys. So, I love the Hydro Wheels. One of my favorite Cars toy lines of all time, still to this day. I did a series where I had the Hydro Wheels compete against each other in a battle royale, where they were in a container full of water, and they would all race each other because they are pull back and kind of move on their own. And, yeah, so they were going to fight, and the last one standing would win. You see, I don't have a pool, and for whatever reason I didn't use my bathtub or my sink. I went outside and filled a plastic sled with water, put the Hydro Wheels in, and just violently sprayed them with my garden hose for the entire video. I thought Water Demo Derby was going to be the big thing. I was so pumped for it. I was like, oh, give the video X amount of likes and I'll make another one. It'll be a series. It didn't get enough likes, and I think the like goal was maybe like 3. Nobody wanted this. It's as simple as that. Nobody watched it. It bombed. It was a really stupid idea in hindsight. I hate Water Demo Derby with a passion. Okay, Let's Play Cars games. I did several Let's Play videos back in the day. They were just me filming my TV. I do Let's Plays now on live stream sometimes. I'm not going to be counting that or other series and live streams. I do reaction videos on live streams a lot, and I'm not counting those either. I'm also not counting the more recent reaction videos I did, like the reaction to the Piston 11's YTP. I actually have a playlist on my channel now that's just for modern day reaction videos. I'm not ranking that here, but yeah. So just so you guys know, this is just for 2017 ranking videos. This is just for 2017, 2018 Let's Play videos. You'll see the playlists on my channel. You can see all the videos in there. So yeah, not counting like modern things, like when I do Fortnite or Minecraft or Cars games on live streams now. These videos are okay, I think. I'm just going to drop them in D tier. It's me filming my TV, so it can't be a very good Let's Play, but I think it's fine. Cars subscriber shorts. I painted a ton of customs based on my YouTube friends in the early days of my channel, and in addition to putting them in Cars Adventures, where they really hijacked the plot for way too long, like several of them were living in Radiator Springs for some reason, they were weirdly main characters, I also gave them their own series of shorts, and I like that concept, a series of shorts with just these customs. And because it was just these customs based on my YouTube friends at the time, a lot of them were inside jokes and references to their channels, which I think is probably pretty bad if you're watching the channel, if you're watching the series in the modern day, when most of these channels are no longer active. Some of them have scrubbed all their video content, and I think it also makes it difficult if you're not me or one of my early YouTube friends. If you go back to the series now, there are these weirdly specific references that nobody watching the channel nowadays would get, and I probably don't even remember most of them. And for that reason alone, the longevity of this series is probably one of the worst for my entire channel. It does not hold up for those reasons, so E tier for that. Daryl Talks. This was a role-playing series. The thumbnail of the first episode is just a screenshot from the movie, but this was a series where I was playing the characters with diecasts. This was inspired by a viewer of mine who really liked Daryl Cartrip, and he suggested a series where Daryl hosts a talk show. So in each episode, Daryl would get kind of a different car and speak with them. I did a few episodes in 2017, and it eventually came back in 2018. 2017 episodes are rough, 2018 ones are a bit better. Daryl Talks would later go on to be rebooted with Daryl Talks Some More, a series that I think is significantly better, but we'll get to that in a bit. For now, Daryl Talks can join the other series from 2017 down here in E tier. Okay, my canceled Cars diecast series. This one was really the first series on my channel to take off. It was very simple. It was just a compilation. It was like a slideshow. Okay, canceled Cars diecast. This was really the first series on my channel to take off. It was just a slideshow of canceled cars with their names on screen. And because it's so simple, I think this series holds up a lot better than some of my other early content, just because it's a slideshow of canceled cars. If you want to see some canceled cars, you could still watch these videos and see canceled cars. That's kind of it. There are significantly better canceled cars videos out there, some really great videos made by other people, either discussing them and actually talking about them, or showcasing full lists of every canceled car ever. But for what these are, I think they're fine. Nothing special, but put them in C tier, because again, they do what you expect. You know, it does what it says on the tin. And the tin says canceled cars. It does that just fine. Alright, 25 days of suggestions. Oh, I love 25 days of suggestions. Every December since 2017, I've done a series called 25 Days of Suggestions, where people give me suggestions, and I review one each day leading up to Christmas. And over the years, the series has really evolved. It used to be me hand-picking them every day, but nowadays I use a random name picker, which keeps me on my toes and completely randomizes it, and that makes it so much more fun for me, because I never know what's going to be reviewed. I get to look forward to every day in December having a brand new mysterious review I'll have to do, and it's so exciting. Every day, pretty much every day, you know, whenever I have a new review to do, I know what I'm reviewing. I know what my next review is. Oftentimes I'll do polls where you guys can vote for my next review, but I still know what the items I have to review are. With suggestion reviews, it's so fun because you guys, my viewers, have such a wide range of taste and items they want to see me review, so there are so many fun and interesting things I take a look at. The first time I ever reviewed regular Cars 1 McQueen was 25 Days of Suggestions in like 2020 or 2021. There are so many items because people have such varied tastes with what they want to see and what they want to see reviewed. And that makes it really fun and interesting, and the random name picker just adds to that experience where we both don't know what's going to be reviewed every day. And of course, as the series has gone on, it's evolved in other ways. For the past several years, each episode, each day has started with a little skit, and that's become a really iconic part of the series, especially with Creepy Santa, the best character on my channel, obviously. And also, nowadays, I open the Mini Racers Advent Calendar every day. There's just so much fun to 25 Days of Suggestions. December, Christmas, to me, is not the same without 25 Days of Suggestions. And that is going right up there in S tier. Okay, so we've moved out of 2017 and into 2018. 2018 is the year where I made the most content on my channel and also tried the most series. A fair warning. Everything from here to here is 2018. You'll recognize some of these because some of them continue on to this day, but many fell by the wayside. Since there are so many, we'll try to go through some of the lesser known ones a bit more quickly, but let's see. I think every series deserves its fair shot to be discussed. So let's begin with Cars That Should Be Made. Much like Canceled Cars, this was a pretty simple concept. Basically a slideshow of screenshots from the Cars series showing cars that I thought should be made, occasionally featuring cars that my viewers commented about that they wanted to see made. Cars That Should Be Made skyrocketed my channel and gave it a massive boost. It was the biggest series on my channel for a very, very, very long time, and I still owe a lot of my success today to Cars That Should Be Made in the early days of my channel. It's not a series I do anymore because I don't really enjoy doing slideshow videos anymore, with the exception of every single car. I don't do these no audio slideshow videos, but Cars That Should Be Made is still very important to my channel. I'm going to put it in A tier. Alright, this is the thumbnail for my first 2018 hunting video. I have 2018 hunts, 2019 hunts, and 2021 hunts. I bring the series back every once in a while. Nowadays I'm doing it through YouTube Shorts, but I'm having this space to combine the 2018 and 2019 ones because they released back to back. They're just in different playlists on my channel because they were for different years. So 2018 and 2019 in-store hunting videos are fine. Of course, they start off pretty close in quality to the 2017 ones, but as they go on, they do get better and better, and I kind of find my groove, and we get into kind of the place I'm at with my shopping videos today. I'll put them here in C tier with the other shopping videos. They definitely get a lot better later on. Alright, this is a series that I actually didn't remember. This is the only series on this list I had no recollection of. This was a series called Stop Motion Stories. Now, I've done stop motions on my channel every once in a while, especially back in the early days of my channel. I would do a lot of stop motions, but stop motions have never had their own dedicated playlist. Usually I go kind of playlist crazy and make playlists for everything on my channel, but there are two significant types of videos that I do that don't have playlists. Those are stop motions and list videos. For whatever reason, I just never got around to making a playlist for either of those. One of these days I really should. But there is a playlist for stop motion stories, which was a stop motion series I tried to do, just having little stop motion stories, hence the name. Early stop motions on my channel are incredibly rough. I went back and I watched the first episode of this series. It's just full of my hand constantly being there. The camera work is incredibly rough. It's honestly hard to watch. It's going to go in F tier. The Mini Race series was a stop motion series I did, which were Mini Racer stop motions. And I think it's fun to watch, at least for me, because I get to see how my Mini Racer collection evolved. I started off with just a few, and then as the episodes continue, there are more and more racers included. If I did one nowadays, it would be wild how many cars would be in there. The Mini Race series, I think, is better than stop motion stories, and it also has more entries and lasted a bit longer. I'm going to put it in D tier. This is a thumbnail for the first episode of Ty Talks, when I tried to make a podcast back in 2018 with, 20-minute episodes where I just talk about random things and put a random image on screen that was vaguely relevant to them. I still want to do a podcast. I've always wanted to do a podcast, still to this day. I'd love to start one at some point. I've almost done it a multitude of times over the years. Of course, we had the Cars Adventures Rewatch podcast, but that's a bit different. Ty Talks, as it stands, is really bad. But the Ty Talks name is good, and I still use the Ty Talks name on my channel to this day. My live streams are always called Ty Talks Live. It kind of takes what I came up with here and expands it. I also had a few Ty Talks episodes on Ty 2 in 2019, but those aren't around anymore. Lizzie's Grand Adventure, another role-playing series that I used miscellaneous images and screenshots of for thumbnails instead of actual pictures of the episodes. Lizzie's Grand Adventure was a series starring Lizzie. I've always loved Lizzie in Cars Adventures. I make her so over the top and ridiculous. It's really fun to play her, especially in the early days. Nowadays, she's a bit more calm. But early on, Cars Adventures Lizzie was crazy, and often the funniest part of the series by far. And so she had her own little spin-off for about 5 episodes. I don't remember it much. I know I rewatched the first episode pretty recently, but I mean, it's an early Ty series, so it's not very good. But it is funny just because Lizzie has some silliness to her that helps it stand out. We'll put that in E tier with the other series here. Awesome Customs is a series that I hate looking back. It was a similar concept to Canceled Cars or Cars That Should Be Made, where it was just a slideshow series. But here I was showcasing customs. And I hate this series because I barely ever credited the people that made the customs. And that's something that bothers me to this day. If you're making a work of unique art in this fan community, something, whether it's digital art or a custom or whatever, and somebody else is using your work, I think that obviously they should be credited. And I didn't credit people here. F tier. I really don't like that. Okay, so every single car. Let's see here. Oh, by the way, most of the customs are just ones I found on eBay. Like these from Cars and stuff. But yeah, I really should have credited people. and this series leaves a sour taste in my mouth whenever I think about it because of that. Anyway, Every Single Car is the only slideshow series that still exists on my channel to this day, and it's gone through several incarnations, hence why it has 5 entries on the tier list. This one is for Every Single Car as a whole. This image of Chick Hicks was the thumbnail of the first ever episode and was the thumbnail of the playlist until recently when I changed it. I changed the thumbnail to a more recent episode last year. And then we have Volume 1, 2, 3, and 4. So Every Single Car started off as a simple slideshow series where I would just put an image on screen showing a character. Or showing every item in a toy line. That's how the series started, and eventually it branched out into characters. So we'd have like every car in the 2006 Desert Art line, every car in the Star Wars line, every car in the Take Flight collection. Then I started doing every variant of characters. I'm going to put this in D tier. It's not bad, but it is just a slideshow of every version of certain items, or every item from a certain series. There's not much to it, it's just images. Later on, I decided it would be a smart idea to add names. So I did that in Volume 2. I added the names to the characters and also their first release year. There were only 4 episodes, though. I'm going to keep that in D tier. Volume 3 is where things got much better, in my opinion. Now, not only was I showing the character and their name, I was also showing every time they released. So now in Every Single Car, you have the character with an image, their name, and then every year they've been out. And as time went on, of course, my ability to edit these videos and make them look nice became better and better. I stopped just ripping images from the BDD World of Cars database and started to find other images from across the internet. And I think that got Every Single Car to a pretty good place now. We'll put that in B tier. Every Single Car Volume 4 is also going to go in B tier. It's basically the same as Volume 3, but I made a few visual changes. For example, when a character's name is on screen, where the character is from is on screen. You know how I do tags that say like, oh, Cars, and then I show the Cars variants, then Cars 2, then I show the Cars 2 variants. Now I make custom graphics for each of those. So like an episode on Shu Todoroki has a white and red design reminiscent of Shu's design, or an episode on Carla Veloso has a green and blue design. Just fun things for me to put the text on that. Makes it pop a little more. Also, these episodes now use white backgrounds instead of black backgrounds. Basically, all the images that I use are JPEGs, so it's just an image of a car with a white background, and nowadays I make the background of the entire video white so that it no longer stands out that it's a JPEG. In older episodes, you just have like these miscellaneous square and rectangles of white around each of the characters. Now, it's all white in the background, so the cars blend in better. As a whole, we'll put Every Single Car in B tier. Unlike Cars Adventures, where watching past episodes kind of I don't want to say ruins. It doesn't ruin, but it makes it kind of harder to get into, right? Cars Adventures past episodes have a lot of storylines and stuff that affect Cars Adventures in the present day. There we go. That's what I was trying to say. That's not the case with Every Single Car. There's no continuity, obviously. I'm just showing different cars. You could watch an episode of Every Single Car from 2018. It's not as good as the episodes now, but it still gets the point across. So that's why I'm going to leave this in B tier with the other modern incarnations of the series. Cars Got Talent was a Cars talent show. It lasted 1 episode. F tier. That's it. This is the wide load crane spinning. That was his talent. I remember filming other episodes. I never posted them. I don't have them anymore, unfortunately. In-Depth Collection was an interesting concept. You guys know how nowadays in my collection videos I show all the cars and I name them on screen when they show up? Well, back in the day I didn't do that. Back in the day I did what most other cars collectors did in their collection videos. I just showed my collection with music in the background. So I started up a new series called In-Depth Collection where I would go and show all of my cars in their places on my table and on my shelves one by one. So it's basically how my collection videos nowadays are formatted, but split into several parts, and I never got through my whole collection. I'm just gonna put this in F tier. I don't like in-depth collection. It's nothing, I don't know. Like, just do a collection video where you name all the cars. I think I was afraid it would be too long, but whatever. This was 2018, so you guys have to remember, long YouTube videos were not popular back in 2018. I was really concerned. Nowadays, I could put out a video like this, which is going to be like an hour long, and it'll do perfectly fine. Back in 2018, you would split everything up into parts. Okay, several of my movies are split into parts. In-Depth Collection was split into parts. Nowadays, YouTube and the YouTube algorithm favor long videos. Back then, they didn't. Everything would be shorter videos. Okay, Ranked. You're watching an episode of Ranked right now. Wow! Ranked has had 2 seasons if you look on my playlists, but unlike other series like Cars Adventures and Every Single Car, I decided to just put it all in one playlist. Put it all in one entry here for the whole series. Both playlists, both Season 1 and Season 2. The difference between the 2 seasons, in Ranked Season 1, I was doing worst to best lists. I would rank every car from a certain year, or every variant of a character from worst to best, or all the items in a series from worst to best. And then Ranked Season 2 is tier lists, which I still do to this day whenever I do a ranking video. Of course, nowadays I do top 10 lists and stuff. Those have their own separate entry later on in the video, but yeah. Ranked Season 2 is tier list. This is a tier list. I'm going to put this in... I'll do A tier, I think. I really enjoy doing tier lists. Yeah, the first few ranked videos aren't anything too special, and they're early videos for me where I'm doing worst to best. But nowadays, when I do tier lists in this series, I really, really enjoy doing it. They're also easy videos, they're fun videos, and they're long videos. So if there's ever a day where I want to get a video out that I can make quickly, but I also want it to be a long video, I do a tier list. Because tier lists are going to end up being 30 to 40 minutes, and all I have to do is record them, and I can very easily upload them. There's very little editing involved with these videos. Usually I'll spend, like, with a Cars Adventures episode, you spend half an hour to an hour recording it, and then even more time editing. Here, all I have to do is film it, and I'm basically good to go. Mini Racer opening videos are a playlist on my channel. I don't really know if these should count as a series, much like reviews, but I'll rank them anyway. I like opening mini racers on camera. We'll throw them in B tier. Actually, I'm going to put them in A tier, because what I really like about these videos nowadays is that I can open them, and then I review them. And you know what? All of these series being in A tier makes me really want to bump up Cars Adventures. Cars Adventures as a whole, you're S tier now. You're Cars Adventures. I'm sorry for not putting you in S tier before. You deserve all the praise in the world. No, you don't. You made Cruise evil. You deserve to be in S tier Cars Adventures. Okay, we'll leave these guys in A tier here. Yeah, I like doing Mini Racer unboxing videos, especially nowadays, where I open them on camera and I review them. I also really like the fact that I always know which minis I'm getting, because I always use the codes in store to ensure I get the ones that I want. But you guys don't know. And that's what I really like about videos like the Mini Racer openings or haul videos. I know going in, but my viewers don't, and I think that makes a fun experience and gives us kind of a fun relationship where I can kind of tease and hint at what the items are, and maybe my audience can put it together, I really like doing that. Oh boy, Cars Randomness. One of the big ones. Oh man. Everybody already knows where Cars Randomness is going to go in the tier list, right? Half the audience clicked off. It's S tier, obviously. Cars Randomness is a series I do where I just put together stupid random skits, and some of the funniest moments in the history of my channel have come from Cars Randomness. The bubble wrap racers, the tape racers, all that fun stuff. More recently, I've done segments I absolutely adore. All of the jokes making fun of planes come from Cars Randomness. Cars Randomness is just one of the most fun things to do. Cars Randomness is the only series I don't do frequently because I want to preserve it, okay? With a series like Diecast History, I don't do it frequently because the episodes take a long time to make, and I'm almost always working on one in the background. With Cars Randomness, I take long breaks between the episodes because I want to make sure that when a Cars Randomness drops, it's a special event. And I also want to make sure that I have new, fresh jokes. If I did Cars Randomness weekly or something like that, I think it wouldn't be as funny because, well, I would just have more out there, right? And with more out there, I think there's less of a chance for each segment to be as good. If I do Cars Randomness as I do it now, where I do one roughly every 6 months, I have brand new, fresh ideas that I get to use in each episode. Alright, let's keep the 2018 series train rolling with custom packages. I had this idea in 2018 to do a series of videos where I created custom packages that came together to form a custom mainline. I really like this concept, and I think the biggest problem was just how bad my graphic design was. Look at that. I've done custom packages since then, but this is the only time I did it in video form. I'm going to go D tier. If you look past the bad graphic design, I think I have some fun concepts in there in terms of what new releases should be made or what cars should be paired with which ones. Like I put Dinoco Cruz and Jackson Storm together. Those two have never been in a 2-pack somehow. I guess they're not on screen together. But last time I checked, Chris Revstopski and M-Fast Fong didn't have screen time together, did they? No. Anyway, so yeah, the concept of making custom packages and showing them on video really took off several years later, and is something a lot of Cars fans have done on their channels. And I think it's funny, I just kind of did it several years before and just didn't really pay any mind to it. It wasn't a big thing, and I never brought it back. So I don't know. It was a time where I was kind of ahead of the curve, right? A lot of people do that now, and they look insanely good, better than I could ever make it. But I find it kind of funny that back in 2018, I had this idea, and I stopped it 3 episodes in, and would later really take off. How I Write Cars 3 is a series that I've honestly been dreading to talk about. In 2018, I came up with the concept of doing a series where I rewrite Cars 3, kind of. See, usually my videos are unscripted, but How I Write Cars 3 had a script. One of the only series I've ever done with a script, actually. And, it's bad. It's pretty bad. How I Write Cars 3 was me basically making an outline for what changes I would make for Cars 3 if I were to make it. And it was basically just 2018 13-year-old Ty, 13, 14-year-old Ty, cramming Cars 2 references into Cars 3. If you look, Cars 3 has a ton of Cars 2 references, okay? But the plot of Cars 2 doesn't affect the plot of Cars 3, and it doesn't need to. They're standalone stories that work fine on their own, okay? Okay. With all that said, I made Miles Axelrod the secret villain of the movie, and he was working with Sterling. Ooh, it's bad. It's pretty bad. The choices and changes I make are completely unnecessary, and they're choices that I completely disown in the modern day and don't agree with at all now. And the funny thing with How I Write Cars 3 is, in 2021, when I was older, I brought it back as part of a 5-year channel anniversary special, or I think that was actually... What year was that? Was that 4 years? That was 4 years, actually, sorry. So I brought back some series on my channel for 2021 for my channel anniversary, including this and Mystery Racer Adventures. And when How I Write Cars 3 came back, I actually really enjoyed continuing it, because now I saw this as a fun challenge. It was no longer what changes I would make to Cars 3. Now it was, I need to finish this really bad alternate version of Cars 3 that I made when I was 14. And I have to try to tie everything together and make it work. So I really enjoyed that challenge. And I think because of that, the series ends up becoming this wacky alternate version of Cars 3 that somehow starts to kind of come together towards the end. I never finished it. I still get comments to this day asking me if I plan to. Probably not. Maybe someday. There's only like 1 episode left that I need to do. I think easily the biggest problem with this series is I didn't have it be a roleplay series. I didn't play it out with diecasts, and I don't know why I didn't. I should have just played out my version of Cars 3 with diecasts and split it up into a series instead of having it be me narrating an outline for the story that I wrote that didn't even have dialogue. It was just me saying, we should do this here, and just putting images on screen. I totally should have just played it out. So How I Write Cars 3, you get to go in D tier. Cars Tonight, this is one you guys probably don't remember. Cars Tonight was like a variety show for cars. It was like Saturday Night Live or The Muppet Show or Incredible Crew. Shout out my Incredible Crew fans. Where are you guys at? For cars. And I don't know why I made it, because at that point I had already started Cars Randomness. Cars Tonight ran for 2 weeks, a little while after I made the first Cars Randomness, and then it stopped. I'm going to put this in E tier. It's like, Cars Tonight is basically unfunny Cars Randomness. So you know what? I'm going to put it in F tier. It's just not funny. It isn't funny. And then I continued Cars Randomness afterwards, and, well, we can see what tier Cars Randomness is in, right? Cars Randomness still holds up to this day. Those early episodes I think are still so funny. Cars Tonight is just not funny, guys. Alright, Tall Tales, the Diecast series. A concept I really like. Having a bunch of my own Mater's Tall Tales in diecast form. This is a series that I wish lasted longer than it did. I only ended up making 3 episodes of this. I think if I'd continued it, I could have really struck gold and found some really fun concepts. Episodes include a sequel to Mater the Greater, an episode where Mater is a break dancer, and an episode where Mater is the coach of, like, McQueen, who's a backwards racer. The concept of doing your own Mater's Tall Tales is a really fun idea, I think. I'm going to put it in C tier there. I think it's quite a fun concept, and I'd love to revisit it someday, but I probably won't. I want to, but I won't. Finn's Adventures is a series that I look back on pretty fondly. It was a series that was filmed entirely outside, with 20-minute episodes showing an adventure Finn and McQueen and Mater and friends go on immediately after the events of Cars 2. I don't remember it very well. I'm gonna put it in C tier. And you know what? We're gonna bump Tall Tales, the diecast series, up into B tier there. Yeah, Finn's Adventures, I don't remember that well. I do remember why I stopped making it. It was just hard to get a 20-minute episode out every week that was fully filmed outside, but I still think it was a fun concept, and it stands out among my other series and always stands out to me when I think of series that I've done. 5 fun facts. I despised this with a passion. It was supposed to be a series. I only ever did 1 episode. If you go to the 5 fun facts playlist, there are 2 videos in it. I did a Cars Fun Fact video in late 2020, which I just threw in the same playlist as this. But yeah, 5 Fun Facts was a series where I was just going to showcase fun facts about Cars characters. Not a bad idea, but it was a slideshow series with no voice. I wasn't speaking. There were just boxes of text to give you each of the fun facts. And that's so dumb. Like, no offense to people that make that kind of content, but, like, that's not my cup of tea. I do not enjoy it. I think this is just really bad. Just talk, my guy. Come on, 2018, talk! Okay, the story of, one of the big series on my channel. I always forget how early I started the story of. I started it in 2018. For a very long time, I've wanted to cover Cars history on my channel. Obscure Cars history. Whether that be in-universe lore or just obscure trivia about the series or the merchandise, and you'll see many, many series on this channel, in this tier list, that are all about that, all about me doing the history for Cars. You know, I think that all really culminated in the Icebergs and Diecast history, 2 series that I've done recently, both of which have been wildly successful, that are all about Cars history. The Icebergs aren't on the channel, aren't on the tier list, because I wouldn't really consider them series. They're just a type of video that I've done a few times. Maybe I should have included them, but I don't really see them as a series. They're kind of their own separate thing. But, you know, the concept of covering obscure Cars history is something that I still love doing, and the concept of discussing obscure pop culture history is what inspired me to make my other channel, Muptown Funk. Without the story of, we wouldn't have Muptown Funk. You know, without me wanting to talk about obscure Cars media, we wouldn't have a lot of my most successful videos and a lot of my favorite things to make. I tried to do Cars history stuff for years, and that all started with the story of. I'm going to put the story of in A tier. It's a series where I talk about canceled Cars content. It's not going in S tier just because the early episodes are kind of rough. You know what? It's the story of. It's got to go in S tier. I think it's genuinely one of my best series, and one I really want to do a lot more of. A bit later on in the video, we'll get to its spin-off, Have You Heard Of? So stay tuned for that. It's down here somewhere, past the massive wall of 2018. The Evolution Of is another slideshow series where I would just show Piston Cup racers in Cars and Cars 3, each incarnation of them, and also the incarnations of their logos. I guess I'll put it in E tier. It's another slideshow series where it just does what it says on the tin, you know? You know what? I'll put it in D tier. I think it's a bit more interesting than some of the other ones. Like this next one, Diecast versus Movie, a slideshow series where I show you an image of the character in the movie, and then their diecast, and that was it. Nothing special there. Okay. In the summer of 2018, I started a series that I just called Cars Shorts. That playlist is now called Ties, Parodies, One-Offs, and Sketches, or something along the lines of that. This has evolved into a playlist where I just throw random, goofy, one-off videos that I don't have another place to put. While those early Cars shorts are fine and they're fun, it's the videos I make now that are the real meat of that playlist and are among my favorite things I've ever done. I love when I get to just do a wacky one-off video and throw it in that playlist, okay? Guidoreos, which of course is the thumbnail for that playlist now, Sarge Films, the 6 Degrees of Separation video, Don't Call Mater at 3 a.m., these are some of my tea food reviews. Ty is in there also when I drank the McQueen juice. Genuinely some of my favorite videos of all time. I always love getting to do these stupid, goofy skit videos. Easily one of my favorite series to make. If I were ranking the tiers from worst to best, you know, this would be like right up here, like one of the top ones. Okay, love making this. Here it is, sitting nice and comfortably in S tier. Fact File was my next attempt to do a history series. I really wanted to do deep dive breakdowns on Cars characters, but I found it kind of limiting because there's not much Cars content out there for most of these characters. I really liked the first episode on Darren Leadfoot. Unfortunately, the other two I did on Mood Springs, Chuck Armstrong, and Shifty Sidewinder were text videos for some reason. I remember finding Fact File very hard to make, so I switched it to a series where I would just give you like 5 fun facts. Oh no, it's back! No, I would just put information about the characters on screen and show images. I'm gonna put it in I'll put it in C tier. Just because I really like Cars history videos. Without this series, you know, the concept of wanting to do these character deep dives is something that stuck with me for years, and without this series, we wouldn't have my Muppet Deep Dive series over on Mupptown Funk. I really made Mupptown Funk because I realized the Muppets have much more history than Cars characters do, and I love the Muppets, and I want to talk about them. So without Fact File, we really wouldn't have the Muppet Deep Dive series, which I love doing over on Mupptown Funk. Cars hauls are another simple one. I'm going to put them in A tier. Really like doing haul videos, ordering something online, hinting at what it'll be, and opening it up and showing it off to you guys. Not going in S tier because it's nothing too special. They're just haul videos, but I really like doing them. Daryl Talks Some More was the sequel series to Daryl Talks. I look back on this one quite fondly. I didn't rewatch it for this video, so I don't know what its quality is these days, but I'm going to throw it here in C tier. This is the sequel to Daryl Talks, where Daryl would have a show now co-hosted by Corey Turbowitz and The King. You know what? Put it in B tier. I quite like Daryl Talks Some More. So, yeah, do Daryl Talks Some More over there. Okay. So, let's see, Piston Cup Races is next. This was the biggest series on my channel for a little while back in 2018. I did a series that was simply the Piston Cup Races, taking place between Cars 2 and Cars 3, with McQueen and all the veteran racers going up against each other, new veteran racers being introduced when I would buy their diecasts. It really blew up, but it became overwhelming. It became kind of too big, in my opinion, and I started getting stressed out because it wasn't a series that I super enjoyed making, and I also struggled with coming up with ideas and concepts for it. I'm going to put it in C tier. It's not one that I like that much, but I know a lot of my audience did when it was coming out. El Chupacabra's Guide to Being Cool was a series I made right after I got the El Chupacabra diecast. It starred him and Sparky as he tried to instruct people to be cool. It only lasted for one episode because I couldn't come up with other ideas. E tier. Wayback Wednesday, Forklift Friday, and Mater Monday. These are different review series I used to do where I would review a specific type of car on a specific day of the week. Mater Monday and Forklift Friday, I'll throw them both in C tier. They're just reviews. You know, nothing too special. Eventually, I kind of ran out of unique, interesting Maters I wanted to review, so I started Mater Monday Season 2, where I'd start reviewing Cars Tune cars in addition to Maters. Forklift Friday was the first of these 3 series to end. It ran much shorter than the other 2. It didn't have kind of a second incarnation. But Wayback Wednesday is a series that I still really enjoy, still to this day. The concept for Wayback Wednesday originally was that I would only review cars that were out in like 2006 and 2007. Then I started a Season 2, I believe around the same time I did Season 2 for Mater, where I would start reviewing cars from 2011 to 2012. Then in 2020, I brought it back with the help of my friend Disney Cars Enthusiast, who was doing a series where he would do new cars on Wednesday, and I would do old cars on Wednesday, and would run simultaneously on our channels. And I updated it to be cars released before Cars 3, so 2006 to 2017. Then I brought Wayback Wednesday back again in the summer of 2022. And Wayback Wednesday was actually supposed to return again for a new season in the summer of 2024, but I simply had too many other reviews to do over the summer that I'm still working through reviewing now, so I never ended up doing that, unfortunately. But I would like to bring it back. It'll probably be back in 2025. Really enjoy Wayback Wednesday and getting to look at older items. So, gonna put that in A tier, especially because I really enjoy getting to choose the items myself. It's pretty fun to do, to figure out every week what old item do I want to review, what do I think is underrated, what do I want to give another shot at. Remakes. I've done a few remakes over the years. I don't really enjoy making them. They typically do well. Cars remakes typically do. There are many remakers out there who are significantly better than me. Remakes were never my cup of tea. I'm gonna put them in E tier there. Okay. Every release is the forgotten sibling of every single car, where I would just show on screen every time a car came out. It's bad. Okay. New Car Analysis is a series on my channel that were basically news videos with me talking a little bit about the item. Back in the day, I would do slideshow videos for news videos. I would just post images in video form, just images of new releases. So I tried to do it with audio for a little bit. This turned out pretty bad, but of course it's a concept I would revisit later with my thoughts. Okay, discussion videos. I really like discussion videos. Discussion videos are where I can just talk about Cars Diecasts for a little bit and cover unique concepts. Discussion videos are a series that I really want to do more, and I think they're oftentimes among my best content. I love being able to just kind of sit and talk about different concepts regarding the Cars Diecast line and its fandom, and I think I've done a lot of really great ones over the years, especially the more recent ones. My episode on why I think the Thunder Hollow cars failed, my episode on what happened to Chester Whipplefilter, where did the Super Chases go, what happened to Mini Racers Guido, and my favorites are the more recent ones from the last year or so. The Next Gens Are Overrated episode, the Glow Racers discussion, and the Gearston Marshall one. This is one of my all-time favorite series. This is going in S tier. This is a series that I really, really want to do more of. And I have some really great episodes planned for the future of it. The Real Housewives of Radiator Springs was a trashy reality TV parody that my sister and I came up with together in August of 2018, and I released, I believe, 3 episodes. It followed several Cars character couples who were all super self-absorbed and annoying, and it was really, really fun, and I really quite love it still to this day. One of my best older series, in my opinion. We had some really funny couples and scenarios, like... Lizzie was married to Danny Suarez. She just married a young rich guy to get all of his money. I really liked Finn and Holly, who were a couple, and Mater was desperately trying to get with Holly. I really love this series looking back. This may be a bit too high of a placement, but this is going in A tier. Love The Real Housewives of Radiator Springs. Not something I'm really interested in bringing back, but for what it is, I think it's perfect. Retro Radiator Springs Adventures was a series I started where I wanted to showcase the backstories of all the Radiator Springs characters and how they made it to the town. I filmed a few episodes starting with Luigi and Guido's backstory, and I stopped after that. I only uploaded the first one. I wasn't really abiding by the World of Cars book. I didn't own the book. I actually still don't, but now I know the stories from it. I would just make up my own backstories for the characters, and I don't know. I'll throw it in E tier. It's not very memorable. I really liked getting to do Let's Plays of Fast as Lightning. As soon as I got my new phone that had screen recording capabilities, I did a Fast as Lightning playthrough until I got locked out of the app a few weeks later, and that was annoying. I can't get in now. I didn't do anything wrong. The app doesn't work anymore, and I was no longer allowed to access it. The problem with the Fast as Lightning videos was that I felt I needed to screen record every single time I played the game, and because of that, I had a huge backlog of episodes. With a series like this, I was doing 10-minute episodes, and it was tough. It was tough to keep up. I stopped recording videos. I stopped uploading videos when I got to Chick Hicks. I was on flow in my recording, okay? I was way ahead. So, there were simply too many episodes for me to upload without doing them every single day, and I stopped the series when I got locked out of the app. I'll throw it in C tier. It's okay. Okay, this is a series called Cars Singles. I wanted to start this new series where each episode would be a different adventure, a different story, a different, little series that would just run for one episode. The only one I ever did was about the Piston Cup security. I love using Piston Cup security. I still think this video is really funny, and the Piston Cup security jingle still gets stuck in my head, but it never expanded out into anything else. It's just this one video. I'm putting it in D tier, not because the Piston Cup security episode is bad, but because the point of the series was never accomplished. There were never any other episodes that were able to be their own separate things. Okay, finally, we reached the end of 2018 with Last Lap. And Last Lap is one of my all-time favorite series. At the time, I had just gotten access to the community tab on my channel, so I thought, what if I do a series where every episode my viewers get to pick who enters the series? Last Lap was about McQueen getting sent off to a mysterious place for a mysterious racing series, where he was surrounded with a bunch of other miscellaneous Cars characters who were the other competitors. And each week, I would put up a poll on my community page allowing people to vote for which characters should be entered next. But the chance part of the series didn't end there, because the races were held on a Florida 500 elimination track they released for Cars 3, where you start with 4 cars, and as they go down, 2 cars would be flipped off the track, and then 1 more would be flipped off the track. So the series had a lot of chance elements. Viewers picked who came in, and the track decided who left. What made this much more unique, though, was the fact that this was a role-playing series. There was an overarching plot, and it was really fun because I always had to stay on my toes and keep on improvising and coming up with new things, because I wasn't the one in charge of where the story went. The audience was, and the track was. The audience would choose who came in, the track would decide who came out, and that would sometimes drastically alter the course I wanted to take the story. Spoiler alert, but in one of the last episodes of Season 2, McQueen is entered on the elimination track. I thought it would be a fun thing to do, because Season 2 is all about McQueen kind of going crazy in this place, trying to figure out what's going on, because they're all trapped there. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool if in one of the final episodes, he finally races on the elimination track? And you know what happens in that episode? He loses! McQueen is flipped off of the elimination track, and he's eliminated. And I had to fully rework the rest of the series now because McQueen was no longer there. It was so fun to do. It's also one of my only series to have a definitive conclusion, throwing it here in A tier. I've tried to bring it back several times since I ended it in 2019, but it has a concise finale, so there's really no way to continue it from there. But I absolutely love that concept. Moving into 2019, we have another stop-motion series. These are stop-motion speedy shorts, just little comedic skits done in stop-motion. And at this point, I was much better at stop-motion, so I'm gonna throw this in D tier. I'd put it in C tier if it had more episodes, but yeah, we'll throw it in D tier. Collector's Guide. This was a series where I gave collectors tips on how to collect Cars diecasts. It was supposed to be the guide for new collectors, where I would introduce new collectors to the Cars diecast line by talking about the basics. Some episodes would discuss a year in history for Cars, other episodes would discuss characters and what key variants you should get, and others would focus on key collecting concepts like chases and super chases. I think it was a fun concept and I really liked this idea. Another person that liked this idea was Little Harky, who saw my episode and was inspired to make his own version of the series, which I believe only ever had 1 episode. I stopped making Collector's Guide when I reached 2010 in the history part of the series, and it just became too difficult to document the full history of Cars diecasts. I wasn't there just yet. I'm going to put it in C tier because I do still like that concept of informing people, and again, it helped fill that thing I always wanted to do on my channel, talking about Cars history. Alright, our next 2 series are 2 of the biggest ones ever on the channel, Weird Products and Weird Errors and Inconsistencies. Weird Products is the biggest series on my channel, and it has been for several years. Just last month, I released the best performing episode of Weird Products ever, Weird Products Demolition Derby Edition, which somehow got over 20,000 views. I don't know why that one did so well. I absolutely adore Weird Products. In each episode, I just take a look at weird Cars products that I see online, and I talk about them. What makes them weird, what makes them interesting. I do episodes themed around characters, McQueen, Mater, Finn and Holly, Francesco, the Demolition Derby cars, so many different characters and all their weird products. And I also do episodes with a specific theme. Backpacks, back to school, summer, sports. There's so much to do, and it's just so funny. I really enjoy doing it and incorporating jokes. If you look at the early days of my channel, there's not much personality in my content, but as I got older, I started to inject more and more personality, and you can really see that. I think a turning point for my channel was the release of Weird Puzzles, a Weird Products episode where I just started making more jokes than usual and injecting more of my typical lighthearted comedic personality, and I think my channel would not be where it is today without Weird Products, and I wouldn't be using my personality in videos as much if it wasn't for Weird Products helping me break out of my shell. S tier. Okay. Errors and Inconsistencies is another very popular series where I talk about errors and inconsistencies in the Cars diecast line. It's one that I don't really do much anymore because I don't really enjoy it as much anymore. I've done it for over 20 episodes, and at this point I feel like it's really run its course. There are an absolute ton of Cars errors out there to still talk about, but at this point I just don't really enjoy doing it as much as like Weird Products. With Weird Products it feels new and fresh every time. With errors and inconsistencies it's just, okay, what mistakes will I talk about today? My viewers really like it. I do quite like it, but it's a series that I'm just not as into as I once was. I'd like to bring it back and conclude it. I want to do like a couple episodes and then a finale episode and officially wrap it up. But yeah, I've also said this several times on live streams, but I feel like errors and inconsistencies made me a more negative collector. And I know that sounds kind of dumb, but there was a time where whenever a new car came out, I would always immediately identify an error with it and be kind of annoyed and upset. You know, I became so focused on finding errors and inconsistencies that it ended up kind of affecting my love for cars collecting, which is part of why I stopped the series. The other part, of course, being the thing I already said, where I feel like it just wasn't that fun to make anymore. So I'm going to throw it in A tier there. 60-second reviews. Alright. Like 60-second reviews, I guess. It was a concept I had back in 2019 where I would challenge myself to review a car in only 60 seconds. It's fine. I stopped the series when I got to Flow. I was going in order of the cars in my collection, just doing like, here's a McQueen and a Mater. You know, kind of reviewing the main versions of each character. You could see I did Cars 3 McQueen here, then I did Mater, Sally, etc., etc. I stopped the series when I got to Flow, because when I got to Flow, I realized that my 2018 updated Flow, the version of her I was reviewing for this series, had an error on her, and her license plate is like upside down, and I could not for the life of me do a full review of Flow and talk about that in 60 seconds, and I just never made it, and I never touched this series again. Nowadays, the concept of 60-second videos is no longer special thanks to TikTok and YouTube Shorts and everything. Making a video in 60 seconds is no longer this big thing of, oh, can you fit it into 60 seconds? People have really mastered how to do that. But 60-second reviews are something you still see in the Cars community. I believe the Piston Cupster does it and has a pretty good series where he does 60-second reviews. But yeah, we'll throw that in E tier, honestly. The Headlight Zone. Oh, this one's going to be hard to place. We just wrapped up the Headlight Zone for 2024. The Headlight Zone is a series that I do, which is, of course, a parody of the iconic Twilight Zone. The early seasons I don't really like, but when I brought it back in 2022, it became a series that I really enjoy making, with longer episodes telling these stories, which, of course, all have a twist at the end. Some of them, in the modern day, are parodies of iconic Twilight Zone episodes. Others are original concepts, and it comes together to make a series that I do enjoy quite a bit. I love that every October I have a series I can look forward to and make. We'll put it in B tier there. Alright, now we move into the Spotlight series. Alright, Spotlight series was my next attempt at doing more in-depth videos discussing Cars history. These would be reviews where I would give far more information, like average price for the character, all of their releases, etc., etc. It wouldn't just be a review, it would be a spotlight and history video on the specific item, and sometimes a character and their variants. Something I really like about the series is that I actually alphabetized the episodes in the playlists instead of putting them in release order, because I wanted to make it like an encyclopedia for cars. I'm going to put this in C tier, honestly. I did quite like it, but sometimes it just felt like a review with more information included. The next video here is a series called Top Racing with David Hobbscap. Unfortunately, the series only lasted one episode, but it was basically a fake racing sports news show, and that was the whole joke with it. The only episode I did was David Hobbscap breaks down the top 10 fastest cars ever, and while it starts promising and you would think he's actually going to do it, as the list continues it gets more and more stupid and ridiculous. I thought it'd be funny to have this series that's just like a fake cars racing series, racing news series where everything is just wrong. I'm gonna put it in E tier though. It's not like, I don't know. How did I expect this to be a series? How did I expect this to go beyond one episode? Dude, just do more Daryl talks. Okay, the next series we have here is Mystery Racer Adventures. This one's going to be pretty hard to place, I think. In November of 2020, I did an event on my channel that I called New Video November, where I tried to do more variety in my content. As you can tell from the fact that most of the series I've talked about here only had a few episodes, at the time I was really struggling with running my channel in a way that I wanted to. I was mainly just doing reviews and Cars Adventures, but I wanted to add more variety to my content. So I took a month off between Cars Adventures seasons. I didn't really do any reviews that month, and I just focused on making new and different content, including new, different kinds of series for my channel, and just bringing back other series. Errors and inconsistencies came back at this time, weird products, etc., etc. Without New Video November, I don't think my channel would be where it is today. That was the month where I was really able to sit myself down, figure out what do you want to do on your channel, and I really rediscovered my love for doing specific kinds of series, and yeah, you'll see that there are very Cars Adventures who's known for competing against different cars in extreme conditions. It lasted 2 episodes. They both didn't do pretty well. I didn't really enjoy making them. I did bring it back in 2021 with a new episode. I tried many ways to try to save the series, but I just didn't enjoy making it. This is unfortunately gonna go in, I'm sorry, this is going in F tier. I really don't enjoy Mystery Racer Adventures, with the exception of the 3rd episode I did in 2021. That one was pretty good. My Thoughts was another series I started in New Video November in 2020. At the time, I wasn't doing news videos anymore because I didn't like the concept of just showing photos of new cars on screen without anything else. And I also wanted to be crediting people who found new reveals and stuff. So I started My Thoughts, a series where I give my thoughts on the latest cars news, and of course it's a series I still do to this day. Unlike most of my other playlists, it's ordered with the newest video first, which is why the thumbnail is me talking about 2025 reveals from like a week and a half ago. My Thoughts is a series that I quite like, but it's not a series I'm deeply attached to. It's just how I do news videos now. I like that I'm able to give my own spin on it. The videos always do very well, but they're really just news videos with me giving my commentary. Because of that, I don't know, should I put them in B tier? Yeah, I'll put them in B tier. I mean, it's My Thoughts. It's nothing super, super special, you know? They're not a series that I'm like, oh, I want to do a new My Thoughts. It's more of like oh, I should do this because there's new news out. I enjoy making them, but they're more of just a thing I have to do, a thing I feel I have to do as a Cars channel. You know, I want to do news videos, so yeah. I don't know why that was so hard to explain. Okay, Cars That Have Been Made, another series from New Video November, and one that I honestly thought was a pretty cool concept. Cars That Have Been Made was a series where I would go back on my channel and take a look at my old Cars That Should Be Made videos and figure out what items from those videos had been made since then. I'm sorry, I'm pulling up my phone so that I can find out some information on the release of my next series, Quick Facts here. I don't remember when that came out, and I would like to very quickly check that. Okay, sorry. Back to Cars That Have Been Made. I really like Cars That Have Been Made because it takes advantage of the fact that it had been a long time since Cars That Should Be Made had come out, and a lot of items had been released since then. Cars That Have Been Made is in kind of an awkward spot. I did 2 episodes and then stopped, and then in early 2023, I think it was? Yeah, it was 2023. I just did a video going over cars that have been made from every single episode. So the series became obsolete when I just did one video that covered what was originally supposed to be a series. We'll put it in C tier, I don't know. Quick Facts. It was a series I thought I started a New Video November, but I was incorrect. I just had to pull it up on my phone. Ty's phone cameo. Hello. Yeah, Quick Facts was a series I started in 2021. I thought it would be cool if whenever a new Cars diecast got revealed, I would do a video breaking down who that character was so that fans knew them. I did it for Will Rush. I started one on Robert Jam Jones and never finished it. This is going in E tier. Still me trying to do history videos, right? But, yeah, it didn't really work. Weird Knockoffs is a spin-off to Weird Products where I talk about knockoff toys. And while I really love Weird Products, I don't enjoy weird knockoff products as much because I think it's just not as interesting. To me, one of the best things about Weird Products is the fact that they're weird, officially licensed merchandise, and I get to talk about the wacky things about them. With weird knockoffs, of course they're going to be weird, and I feel like there aren't as many jokes as I can make with weird knockoffs. Yeah, they're weird, they're random, they use the wrong names and faces and stuff, and oh, they're so goofy. And I like doing weird knockoffs, and they do very well. A lot of the most viewed episodes of Weird Products are weird knockoffs videos, but for me, it's just not as funny when they are bootleg items. It's as simple as that. This, I'm going to put in... Oh, I'll put it in C tier 2, I guess. I'd like to do another one someday, but I think the 3 I have now are honestly enough for me. Have You Heard Of is the spin-off to The Story Of. It's basically a modern version of The Story Of, but instead of talking about canceled Cars stuff, we talk about obscure Cars stuff, and I'm going to throw it into S tier alongside The Story Of. I'm actually going to bump The Story Of down to A tier. I like Have You Heard Of a bit better than it. Cars Randomness Movie Edition was me putting together little clips and stuff and making little meme videos using the Cars movies and actual songs and music and clips and stuff. I did 2 episodes of it. I think it's okay. It's pretty funny at times. But I simply haven't had enough ideas to do a 3rd part. The 2021 Hunt videos are easily the best in-store videos that I've ever done on my channel. I really like them. I would do videos each month, at the end of each month. I would film myself in stores over the months and put it all together at the end. I started a new thing in my videos where instead of just saying target number 1, target number 2, I would let you guys know when I was at the same targets, something I used to not do in my earlier videos. So I'd go target number 1, trip 2, so you could kind of see the evolution of the stores instead of being left in the dark, not knowing which one was which. I really like these. I started to add a lot more comedy and wacky editing. Some of them became a bit more vlog-like. I'm going to put the 2021 hunts up in A tier. Okay. No context compilations are always a fun thing. They've been made by several different people on my channel. Ratchet Reviews, The Piston 11, Cars Ignite 95 have all done their own no context videos. It's another thing I don't really consider a series, much like reviews and the iceberg videos and stuff. It's a type of video, but still, no context compilations can be pretty funny. I guess I'll put them in B tier. Alright, we're in the final stretch now. Would you guys believe me if I told you that this covers 2022, 3, and 4. Okay, this is our last thing from 2021. You can see that as my channels become more stable, I'm trying out less new series. And of the new series here, more of them are sticking. But what didn't stick was Tie Day. Tie Day was an idea I had to do a series where I just reviewed whatever I wanted. It was that simple. I would pick a random car in my collection and review it. Something that I thought needed a bit more love every Friday, you know, random cars that I wanted to kind of highlight. I'm going to throw it in D tier. It's okay. Not as well themed as Mater Monday and Forklift Friday, but the point was that I was picking the cars. You know, they weren't birthday requests or new items. I mean, I love doing birthday requests, obviously, and I love reviewing new items, but sometimes I want to be able to look at older items in my collection and review them, and that was the point of Tie Day, but I don't know, was not that interesting. A quick look was my YouTube short series, where I would just go over the history of certain cars. E tier, nobody likes YouTube shorts. No, I'm kidding. It's not that interesting. I was going to go through all my cars one by one, but I didn't. When Diecast History came out, it made this series completely and totally irrelevant now. If you want to see a look at cars and their history, look at Diecast History. You know, this series didn't even have images or text on screen. It had text on screen, but it didn't have, like, images or editing, because I didn't know how to do that with shorts yet. But for my first try at YouTube Shorts, I think it's pretty good. My other short series aren't featured on this playlist, Collection Questions and the Hunt videos, because they don't have playlists, I don't think, but I think they're much better. The Final 50 is a series where I review the final 50 cars that I haven't reviewed on my channel ever before, and it's a fun concept. It goes off of a list that Robin Tailspider made, going over all the cars I own but don't review, and I like the concept. I just simply never have the time to do it, and it's really something that I don't feel interested in making anymore. It's gonna go in E tier, I'm sorry. Let's bump Tie Day down to E tier too. I just don't really like doing Final 50 that much, honestly. Cars on the Road episode breakdowns, D tier. I only made one. I only made one. It underperformed, and I was like, you know what? I don't really feel like breaking down every single episode of On the Road if people aren't that interested in seeing it. Nowadays, it's sitting at over 3,000 views. It's doing just fine, but I didn't really enjoy it at the time. Okay. Cars Adventures Holiday Shorts. The concept of doing Cars Adventure shorts is something that I quite like. Doing like 3-minute long sketches that take place within the Cars Adventures universe. It's something that I like quite a bit. I'm considering bringing them back maybe this year if I don't end up doing a holiday Cars Adventures season for 2024. That's still up in the air for me right now. I'm still trying to work that out. I'd really like to bring back Cars Adventures Holiday Shorts. They have really funny little stories that I think are easy for people to get into. You don't need to know Cars Adventures lore to get it. I love all 3 episodes. The tractor breakdancing one is the worst one, or the reindeer breakdancing one is the worst one, but the one where McQueen gets kidnapped and the one with Sarge's date, I really like them quite a bit. Alright, we're in 2023. It's time for Batcar. Yes, I love Batcar. Batcar is a Batman parody series where I parody iconic pieces of Batman media, typically movies, with a whole fleet of Batman parody customs. There are 4 episodes out that I released in early 2023, and then I went on a very long hiatus, and the series is still yet to return. Despite that, I genuinely believe Batcar is some of the funniest stuff I've ever made, and as a Batman fan, I'm gonna drop it in A tier. Definitely one of my best series ever. Should I put it in S tier? It's close. I'm going to put it in A tier. But especially if you're a DC fan, there are some great episodes I absolutely adore, okay? And I also really like just parodying pre-existing Batman movies and sometimes making my own changes. I have Robin in every episode, even though most of the movies I've covered are in ones with him in it. It was really fun trying to string together the plots of miscellaneous Batman movies from different continuities to make one consistent story. The Cars Adventures Rewatch podcast was me and Robin going over Cars Adventures episodes in each season. It was really fun to rewatch them and revisit them and get to talk about them again on the channel. We did the first several seasons, and I don't believe we're continuing. We realized there were simply too many episodes for us to cover all of them in a good time frame. You know, we would be doing it for years and years and years, and we decided against continuing it. Gonna throw it in C tier there. Alright, list videos here. Now we are still in 2023. List videos are something I've been doing for years, but they've only become more consistently released in the past 2 years. This is a series on my channel that really doesn't have its own playlist, but I felt like it deserved a spot here on the list. I should definitely make a playlist for my list videos. I love being able to do top 10 lists, whether it's me or my viewers voting for the best cars released each year, or it's me talking about very niche specific topics, like this one I used for our thumbnail here, cars that were almost perfect, fell just short of greatness, or cars that need to be re-released was the most recent one. If I can only keep 10 cars in my collection, what could I keep? That was an older one. I really love doing all these list videos with specific topics, and in my mind there are always at least 5 different list videos running that I want to make, and it's a series I want to do a lot more often. I really like doing these. These are going to go in A tier. Alright. You know what? S tier. I'm going S tier. Okay. Ty's Cars Book Club is a series that I quite enjoy. I really like casually just going through Cars books that I own, especially those Cars comics. I love getting to read these pieces of Cars media for the first time. I'm going to put it in A tier, I think. It's very laid back and casual. Maybe if it were a bit more heavily edited or something, it could be an S tier, but it's a simple, fun, casual video. Much like these tier lists, if there's a day where I want to do a longer video, but I'm not sure what, typically tend to do Ty's Cars Book Club. I haven't done one in a little while. Really excited to bring it back. Diecast History is, I genuinely believe, the best series I've ever done. Diecast History is a culmination of everything I've ever done on my channel, in my opinion. Getting all of these different pieces of Cars knowledge over the years, right? I've done so many different series over the years trying to discuss Cars history, and I just never knew how to do it. Diecast History is a series I've wanted to do since like 2018, 2019, and I could just never get it off the ground right. I did Collector's Guide, I did Fact File, I did a quick look, new car analysis down here, all of these different types of videos trying to go over the history of cars, and I just couldn't get it right. I felt like it was too big of a task. But after I started my channel Muptown Funk and did history videos over there, the pieces finally started to come together, and I realized the right way to do it. Diecast History is a series that takes a very long time for me to make episodes of, but I genuinely believe it's the best content I've ever made on my channel. Yes, it's missing the comedy of my typical videos, but as far as informative content goes, I don't think I will ever reach the peak I have with Diecast History, and I'm so excited to talk about the history of every car that's ever existed in it. S tier, easy S tier. And finally, our last video is cars that should be made, or I think I have this in my playlist as every car that should be made. It's a new series I did that reboots the cars that should be made format and applies it to full pieces of Cars media. So far, I've only done every car that should be made from the first movie. I'm hoping to do every car that should be made from Cars 2 at some point in the future. Then I'll do Cars 3, the Cars Tunes, Cars on the Road, might even hit Planes or the video games or books or something like that. It's a series that has a limited number of episodes total, but it is really fun to go into a piece of Cars media and get to talk about every car I want to see from it. A tier. And there you have it, guys, a tier list of all of the series on my channel. Yes, there are some exceptions. There are a few missing. Shout out Ty's Cars Tunes. I didn't rank you here. I'm sorry about that. There's only one episode out for now, though, so whatever. I think this was such a fun thing for me to do. I really enjoyed this, getting to take a walk through the history of my channel, look at all of my different series, see which ones I enjoy, which ones I don't enjoy, which ones I look back on fondly, which ones I don't have to look back on because I'm still making them. And I think the fact that S tier, A tier, and most of B tier are full of series that I still do really shows that I think I've really found my place in terms of content. Every single series that is in S tier is one that I still make episodes of. Some of them less frequently than others, but I think that really goes to show that I've found my place and I've found the content that I really, really enjoy making. And that content is not Water Demo Derby. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think of my list in the comments. Is there anything you strongly disagree with? Did you enjoy having my face in the corner of the video? You can take your sticky notes off now. I'll be ending the video soon. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. What would your placements be? What do you think of my thoughts on these? I'll see you guys next time. Bye now. Thank you all so much for watching this part of Project 10K, and stay tuned for the next video releasing soon, a special length episode of Cars Randomness. Bye now.